Doubt it.
Interesting. Weird.
All right, so I'm going to show people some Salton Sea stuff. Again, I went down there on Saturday, but they were there on Friday, and they got much better observations than I got on Saturday. So I'm going to show you some of the views. Actually, what I'll show you first is Google Earth, just so you guys can remember what we're talking about here. See, bring this up, transition. So this is Google Earth. I just kept the line here of what we did. We didn't even go over to this side and look this way because they were same distance, and we did get the observations, like we said, on Friday here. So this is the corner of Capri Road, which I'm going to be showing you that here in a second. And this is the way that we were looking, and then you'll be able to see how the pictures and videos match up. All right. So like I said, it's very easy to look off in this direction, and you just look for this outstretched land. So we're looking at this, and then I wanted to show people the geothermal plant. And yeah, so this is the direction we're looking, right past this outstretched land. You'll be able to see that in a second. And we're looking, this line here is 27.7 miles, so we can call it 27.5 if we want. And then this is the geothermal station. And I thought this was going to be much taller. It's very, very short, and I'll show you some pictures of it. This is negative 230 feet. If you can't, I don't know if you can see it at the bottom of my screen, but you can do it yourself if you can't see that. Then you climb here, and you're at like negative 235, 36, and then back here you can see it's actually lower. And these are the smoke plumes that come out from this geothermal station. It's also got some lights on it, but that's basically what we were trying to see. So this is where they were in front of the geothermal. And if we go this way, you can kind of see where they're looking at Capri. You can see the way this mountain kind of comes down here. And I'm going to be showing you some of that. And you can see that we were all standing right here. So this right here is about 10 feet above the water line. But remember, we're looking some ridiculous distance, 27.5 miles. So this here is an image just so people can see, because I think when we were talking about it, we were saying, oh, it would be so much better if we could get the mirror flashes from the geothermal plant, because that's something that you can see from the distance. You can see the cloud, the plumes. They were able to basically do this double mirror. So what you have is you have somebody who's taking, remember, the sun's behind them. You're flashing the sun then at this mirror, which is shooting off into the distance, and these people are picking it up. So there's two pictures here kind of showing, take the sun from this direction, bounce it off this mirror, and then you've got people across the water trying to pick that up. And again, you have to have line of sight in order to see those mirror flashes. So this is them picking up the mirror flashes. Again, that mirror flash is taking place 10 feet above the water, and they're about 5 or 10 feet above the water on the other side. So this is clearly, the kind of evidence that we're talking about, that it's impossible on a globe. You are seeing too far. So here's some still shots of mirror flashes. And again, you can see that they're all taking place at the exact same spot. It's not like they are, see, you can actually see it bright in there. And that's what's happening, is that there's a mirror flash. These people are not up on a hill. I just showed you where they're at there. Well, it's not a hill. They're on a 10-foot little embankment. This is some photos of the moonrise. That's just, I think, extra stuff that they were showing. This is the laser flashes. So these lights that you're seeing here are the geothermal plant. So you have to think about that. Remember, we just looked at Google Earth. We just saw where the geothermal plant actually sits below the level of the Salton Sea. And then it's got some buildings that stick up not very much, and I'll be able to show you those shortly. So this is the geothermal plant that's standing, I'm standing there just taking a picture of what's behind me, right? So you can see people just going there. This is no higher than 10 feet. And so the geothermal plant itself, these things are very low. And I know it might look like, but remember, I'm just standing on the road. You can see that even the tops of the geothermal plant are not much higher than where I am. Maybe 50 feet. I don't even know what the estimation for the top of the highest point of the geothermal. But the lights that we saw, let me go back up here. The lights that we saw from the mirror flash, that's what those lights are, is the geothermal plant. So you can see just different images zooming in. That's a little bit closer. And remember, what they're doing on the other end is just shining the laser. And you can tell, that this is the source of the laser, because these are the source of the lights of the geothermal plant. So you got more here. And so they did some great work on Friday, really kind of picking up some of these laser flashes. I'm just scrolling through different pictures here. Hopefully you guys are seeing that.
Oh yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, they did a really great job. So that's the geothermal plant. If you could see that outstretched land, it would be about right here.
And that's again 27 miles away?
Yeah, 27.7. I mean, you shouldn't be able to see any of this stuff. Now, here's when they started using the green laser, they were getting that doubling. When they went down to the shore, they were seeing this doubling. And it's because you're getting lower into that layer. The closer you got to the water, the more you would see these two images kind of come together. So here you can see this doubling.
Makes sense.
And there's some more doubling. And again, I can't wait for them to bring out, all this footage in their movie. It should be good, and it's going to be called Behind What Curve. And if anybody has questions or, wants to contact Wendell regarding that documentary, it's behindwhatcurve@gmail.com. So you can see here, we're getting that doubling. Yeah, so he just sent me a bunch of still shots. Here you got that laser beam coming across the water. Really, when you see it from afar, you really wouldn't even be able to see the doubling. You have to zoom in, and the closer you zoom in, the more you can start to see that. There you go. That's a good kind of system right there. You can kind of go there, to there, to there, and really start to see the doubling as you zoom in super close. Here's what I think people might fail to realize. Remember, this is looking across 27 miles. think of 27 miles from you, trying to zoom in with your camera and pick up something, and we're able to pick up a laser light being shined from 27 miles away. That's crazy to me when I think of cities that are 30 miles or 25 miles from me, and then picture zooming in with my camera. It's insane that you would be able to see anything.
What was the drop again that was supposed to be there for the 27 kilometers?
400 feet.
Yeah, 27 miles.
Yeah,
27 miles. Yes,
That's
sorry.
like 40 kilometers, I think.
350 feet. 350 feet is the supposed drop. And remember, there's supposed to be a a hump of 150 feet. It might be 140, might be 160. I'll have to plug it back in to see. Sorry, you guys can't see that. But yeah, when you zoom in there, they are shining both. And I think I have some images of that from Dan the Waterman where they're shining both a blue and a green at the same time.
It's amazing how people see this and they see the ball, you know.
Whether it's not looming, right? Looming is that's when something is supposedly higher than it should be, right? Refraction is what they say brings things from behind the curve. Is that right, Bob?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, if you think about it, if the world is flat, which we know it is, looming really doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't.
Right?
And in every example, when they try and show looming, it's not what it is, unless they're talking about when you get the reverse, right? When you have like a Fata Morgana, where the image is upside down and inverted on top of it, right? And that's a mirage. That's when you are seeing a mirage. So, you know, at the beginning of my videos, when the guy says what you're seeing here is a mirage, no, it's not. Those are buildings. They're right side up. They're just like what we're seeing here. This is not a mirage of the smoke or of the steam plumes. This is the steam plumes, and then they're reflecting below in what I consider the atmosphere. So this is
the mirages are almost always inverted, and they're always distorted. You never see a crystal clear, you know, so-called mirage. That's absurd that they call those that.
So this is the geothermal station, like I said, the three of them. And if you want to kind of contrast that, if we go up and find
for me, Jaron, like it just seems that optically what you have is that the denser layer of vapor, I guess it's right above the water, generates kind of a mirror itself. It is sort of a gradient that with the distance, it accumulates with distance. So when it's close to you, you cannot see it. But as it goes far away, it becomes something. It's kind of like on the beach. You can see, when you look at a stretch of beach from the side, you see that happening, right? The kind of accumulation of all the stuff coming out of the ocean. But I think this is kind of what's going on here. Is this, it's almost invisible. When it starts being invisible, it starts mirroring. And in this case, because it's more dense, maybe it's a little bit more pronounced being under the ocean. Right. It'd be interesting to see other observations like in high places and dry places and compare to get a sense for what can happen and if we can monitor the temperatures. I know it's more difficult, but I think FE Corp probably has done that or is doing this. I don't know, Bob. But it is, you know, it's,
this is what
you know about the nudes.
The nudes?
Nudes?
Yeah. The nudes, the non-uniform density transition zone.
There you go. All right.
And like, the more extreme the angle of your eye gets to that, you know, as far as you can see off in the distance, then that you know, that moisture, that water becomes like a mirror because of that extreme grazing angle really far away.
Exactly. So, Makes perfect sense to me that.
And you can clearly see the doubling, you know, right about here. This is exact mirror image. And so, you know, what I think is happening is, you know, that geothermal plant is probably sitting right about here. And what you're getting is just a reflection of this on the dense atmosphere, as Rodrigo said. That's the one where I zoomed into the left a little bit. That's back out to show you this. And we saw, you know, weird stuff like this happening too, where this is more water back behind kind of that doubling there. This is when I went over to the geothermal side looking back, and this is what they would have been zooming into when we saw the flashes at Capri. This is when I first got there, because you have to set your IR camera, you have to manually set the color balance. Well, I couldn't do that when it was dark, so I was taking these purple images. Once I take my camera and I take a photo of something green and manually set that as the white, that's when I can start pulling the black and white images. So this is the infrared early in the morning, very early, seeing some of the doubling there. There's that outstretched land. And again, this is that kind of mucky air right here. Keep going. So this is me trying to take, so again on this, and there you go looking over, this is on the left side to the land that skirts out, and you can see this is all doubling. So this is just mirror images. This is exact mirror image of this, mirror image of this, mirror image of this the whole way. There's the plumes. That's kind of what you certainly couldn't see that with your eyes. You couldn't even see the plumes with your eyes. You had to zoom in to pick these up. As we can go back and look at the video here, I'm just showing. So this is after it got a little bit lighter and I was able to change my color to black and white. These are the plumes that I was seeing across the water. Again, you can see doubling right about there. This is, it started to get a little bit brighter in the day. It got harder to see. That's a good view that I was able to get with infrared. And
Jaron, what was the nanometer on your conversion again?
Mine is 830.
830 nanometers? Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
And then the one that they're showing is 740. You know, when we were up here, these pink images are 740. And then the purple images are 1000. So these look really good. Again, this is why it's awesome to get out there and actually see how great it is when you have either some sort of backdrop that you can pick up. Because once you see that, then you're able just to stay on that spot. And you kind of can draw these lines and you can say, okay, we're looking for a mirror flash right in between those lines. And if you kind of go through all these images, the mirror flashes take place at the exact same spot. So it's not like, oh, that's a car driving by. Oh, that's I don't know, whatever else you want to think it is. Obviously, it's the mirror flashes.